Hello students. Now after we have studied the basic understanding of religion, now we will be starting with sociological theories of religion. In sociological theories of different sociological theories of religion, we will be covering different classical theories of religion, which comprises of evolutionary theories, functionalist theories, Marxist theories, and Weberian theory. Uh, Plus, we will be also be studying the feminist perspective on religion, neo-Marxist perspective on religion, and postmodern perspective on religion also. So we will be covering with each and every perspective of religion. Basically, in your exam, it specifically does not ask feminist theories of religion, describe feminist theories of religion. Examiner never asks these type of questions. But definitely, you should have wide perspective. You should have knowledge of each and every perspective to have to enrich your answer. If any question comes related to religion or if like for example if comes that what are the contemporary perspectives on religion, then in that question you need to definitely answer the neo-Marxist perspective, feminist perspective, postmodernist perspective. Plus you can also write the phenomenological perspective on religion also. So definitely you should know each and every perspective on religion to enrich your answer properly. So we will be starting with initially we will be sociological theories of religion. We will be starting with the classical theories of religion. तो क्लासिकल थ्योरीज में आपका दो टाइप की थ्योरीज हैं, इंटेलेक्चुअल एंड यू हैव द इमोशनल थ्योरीज. इमोशनल थ्योरीज और यू कैन से द साइकोलॉजिकल थ्योरीज. Plus, we will be also be studying the Comte's perspective on religion. So that you can say that comes under intellectual theory only. So you can say in intellect. So we will be studying intellectual and emotional theories in classical theories. Now these intellectual theories, we will be studying the Comte's theory of religion. Specifically, we will be studying Spencer's theory. We will be studying the Tyler's theory, and we will be studying the Marett theory. So in intellectual, we will be studying all these theories. So they comes under intellectual categorization. Now what do you mean by intellectual categorization? Intellectual actually means that this perspective defines religion to be evolved out of the needs of man, you can say intellectual needs of man, or you can say man is considered to be the needs of the man is considered to be intellectual, or you can say somewhat rational also, not full rational, but you can say that somewhat logical and rational, intellectual needs. So man is thinking to man wants to find some answers of his questions, and to meet those needs are of intellectual nature, and to meet those intellectual needs, these theories are evolved. Okay, so you can say that to meet the need of the originated to satisfy man's intellectual nature, to meet different needs. So basically you can say that so basically these theories considered man to be a rational person, a rational man. Okay. Emotional theories, irrational, or you can say irrational, illogical, out of cathective aspects, or you can say emotional aspects. So basically these theories they basically explain evolution of religion in from the perspective of, or you can say some emotions are there, some emotions are experienced by humans, and due to those emotions the religion is evolved due to those emotions of man. So for example you can say that because you consider that there is some all powerful, omnipresent, all transcendental supernatural entity is sitting or is present, which governs all the entire universe, and that entity is beyond the comprehension of the man. So due to this feeling that a supernatural entity is governing the man, so due to that feeling of fear or respect towards the nature, or you can say the supernatural entity, these theories have evolved. So out of some emotions these theories have evolved to satisfy the emotions of man. So you can say intellectual needs to satisfy some intellectual. These theories then evolved and to satisfy the emotional needs. Okay, to satisfy the emotional needs. Now, what are the different theories which we will study in this emotional theories? So here we will be studying the Malinowski theory of religion, and we will be studying the Fraser, or you can say first Max Muller naturalism theory, and third we will be studying the Fraser, yeah, you can say James Fraser Golden Bough, James Fraser theory of religion. So in classical theories we will be studying all these theories of religion. They are not that much important as far as your exam point of view, but definitely you should know all these about these theories. So we will not devote much time on these theories. We will definitely understand the concept behind these theories, so that even we don't write much in your answer in your currently in your notebook, but definitely if answer a question comes, then you can write at least one page out of that theory, out of your understanding. So you should understand the concept behind these theories. So classical theories, after classical theories we will be studying the functionalist theory, we will be studying the Durkheim's theory and the Parsons theory of religion. So I'll remove this. Classical theories we will be studying, then we will be studying functionalist theory, plus we will be studying functionalist में we will be studying Durkheim, not much in detail because that we will cover in chapter 4, and Durkheim, and then we will be covering the Parsons theory, plus we will be covering the Marxist theory, that is Karl Marx theory of religion, and then we will be studying the Weber perspective, plus Weber perspective on religion, plus we will be studying the phenomenological perspective, phenomenological perspective plus on religion, plus we will be studying the feminist perspective, we will be studying the neo-Marxist perspective, and plus we will be studying the post-modern perspective. Post-modern is, which you can say, contemporary perspective. So if any contemporary question comes, then you need to quote the you need to write the postmodern perspective on religion. That is the contemporary. Or you can also write some points related to neo-Marxist theory also. But definitely you need to write the postmodern theory. Okay. So in this way, we will be approaching this sociological theories of religion. Now, we will be starting the intellectual theories of religion first. And in intellectual theory, first we will be studying the Comte theory. Now, as you already know that the founder of sociology is none other than Auguste Comte, who is considered to be the father of sociology, and he has coined sociology in 1798. You already know, we have already studied this thing. As per Comte point of view, Comte, you already know that Comte is a positivist. So Comte always stresses on positivistic thinking, intellectual thinking, plus rational thinking, reasoning, so that the society get evolved from the pre-literate to industrial society. So he always feels that it is the positivistic way of thinking which drives or which is responsible for the progress of the society. So he always refutes the religious theories, religion, and he stresses on the stresses and focuses on the science and wants that man to be rational, to be factual, to be logical, and always questions the different theories and different aspects of the society. Means he wants that man should be rational, then only society can progress. So as per Comte, this was just for your understanding. So as per Comte says that society has the human development has occurred through 3 stages. So 3 stages. There are 3 stages as per Auguste Comte. That the first stage is theological stage. Then he has said about the metaphysical, and the third is scientific, which is the present stage as per Auguste Comte. So as per Auguste Comte, the first stage of human development, which is theological society, that is mainly governed by the religion is the most powerful force which drives not only the man but also the society. So this religion he considers to be the most important force, the powerful force in theological society. So man never questions anything which is present in the society, but he always feels that it is the religion which actually is the most powerful force, and the God or the supernatural force is governing the society and its different processes. So in theological stage, he considers religion to be the main force. Now in theological society, metaphysical is not that much important as far as Comte theory of religion point of view. So you can write that in theological stage, he divides the progress of society in theological stage from fetishism, to polytheism, and then to monotheism. And in scientific stage, he considers that there is a religion of humanity. Okay, so in this way you can say that as per Comte, this is the this is the way by which the society progresses, and the religion also progresses in the society. It goes from fetishism to polytheism and to monotheism, and the scientific society, the religion altogether has lost, this aspect of religion has lost, and in its place a religion of humanity has been developed. So we will be understanding what do you mean by fetishism. We will be just having 2-3 lines and understanding 2-3 lines about all these concepts and religion of humanity also. So as per Auguste Comte, fetishism is the aspect of religion in which man considers a fetish, or fetish you can say an inanimate object, any inanimate. So fetish आप बोल सकते हैं fetish or inanimate objects. So he says that it is the fetish which possesses the power in this stage of society, when the fetishism is the main, is the root of the society, or you can say is the root of the religion. When fetishism is the root of the religion, then man considers that fetish to be the powerful force which drives the society. So this inanimate object. So in this phase, he considers that there is no priesthood actually. No priest will be there, because the supernatural force is actually possessed by a dead thing or inanimate thing. Inanimate मतलब जो move नहीं कर सकता, जो चल नहीं सकता, जो living नहीं होता. Like rock. Rock is inanimate thing. Like a mountain. Okay, any river. So these inanimate things possess the actual power or the driving force of the society in this, as per fetishism. So and slowly as the society progresses, as the human development takes place, the fetishism has been replaced by polytheism. Polytheism, we already know that multiple religions or multiple gods, you cannot say multiple religions, but multiple gods have come into picture, where multiple gods are said to be the powerful force, and a man used to revere multiple gods. Different men used to revere multiple gods. So in this case, priesthood comes into picture, because priests are said to be the mediator between the god and the common man. So polytheism, where multiple gods possess the forces, and these gods are said to be the having the supernatural power, and these gods are existing different from the common man. Okay, different gods means different forces are there. Then polytheism has been replaced by monotheism as human development takes place. Monotheism means a single powerful, all-powerful, transcendental entity, all-powerful entity, which is the root of all the religions present in society. So in this case, in this way, he says that monotheism is the primary root of all the religions. Monotheism. Okay, and in the scientific stage, he says that religion of humanity has replaced the primitive aspect of religion. So this is the primitive aspect of religion, where fetishism is there. Polytheism has replaced the fetishism, and monotheism comes into picture. Now this religion of humanity, he says that humanity, this religion comes into picture, where the religious values are said to be are having the moral character. Moral character means good or bad. So morality. So religion of humanity means the religion comes where humans are the most important focus area. So people used to think that the humanity is the religion, that you have to respect the humanity, you have to obey the humanity, and you have to love the humanity. So the love and brotherhood and respect towards the humans becomes the religion. Respect towards the humans, and religion becomes a moral force rather than a, having a presence of a god. So presence of a god is being replaced by a moral force is present in the society which is governing the humans, and that moral force of having the good or bad, you can say in bracket good or bad, so that force becomes the main religion, and that religion is humanity, love for humanity. You can say in scientific term, love for humanity becomes the main religion. In this way, he explains the evolution of religion and why it is intellectual theory, because it is the intellect which is being getting developed from as the society progresses. So intellect means as the society progresses, different intellectual needs have arisen in the society, and to satisfy those needs, different aspects of religion have evolved, or religion different forms, you can say different forms of religion have been evolved. Okay, so this is the Comte theory. So if any question comes of Comte theory, so you can write these things. So he sees the evolution of religion from fetishism to polytheism to monotheism and to religion of humanity. Next, understanding the Comte theory. After understanding the Comte theory, you should understand the Spencer's theory. So it is his theory is also known as ghost theory. Or dream theory, you can say dream theory. Herbert Spencer theory. So mainly I suppose is okay. So it is the Herbert Spencer theory, which is ghost theory or dream theory. Okay. So basically, Herbert Spencer book name is Principles of Sociology. In this book, he has described this theory, Principles of Sociology. Okay. So this is the name of the book. So what Herbert Spencer says, that Herbert Spencer, so you can say Herbert Spencer's theory is the actual theory or the actual primitive theory, which is said to be the first primitive theory of religion, which is said to be explained by Herbert Spencer. So what he says that the ancestor worship, so you should write the ancestor worship is the root of all religions. So you should write in quotes that ancestor worship is the root of all religions. Okay. Now what is the meaning of ancestor worship? So first we will understand the background, and then we will be able to understand what is the meaning of this line. Now what Herbert Spencer says that there is a duality existing in the nature, duality. Okay, so you can say there is a duality existing, and man comes to know of this duality in dreams only. Okay, so you should understand. तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ duality का क्या मतलब है. तो man क्या कह रहा है, सॉरी स्पेंसर क्या कह रहा है कि जब man ड्रीम करता है, when man used to dream, so there is a body which is a body self. or you can say actual self, or say that shadow self. The shadow self. Okay, so there is a body of man and there is a dream self. So there are two self present. So this duality man comes to know when man used to dream. So how man used to come to know of this thing? Because when a man used to sleep in the night or any time, a dream comes in the when the man is sleeping, and that dream is actually is nothing but the you can say is the dream self of the man, because in the dream the ghost of the uh, ghost comes in his dream. Ghost means this dream self is said to be the ghost of the man. Okay, so what Spencer says. Spencer says that when a man actually when he is sleeping, when the man is sleeping, he dreamed of the ancestors. When he dreamed of the ancestors, then it means that the ghost of the ancestors has come in his dreams. So it is the ghost of the ancestor which actually has come in his dreams, and this ghost means the dream self of the person. Okay, so ये कह रहा है कि दो सेल्फ है मैन के, एक तो एक्चुअल सेल्फ और शेडो सेल्फ, और एक ड्रीम सेल्फ. सो ये ड्रीम सेल्फ को ये कह रहा है घोस्ट होता है ये ड्रीम सेल्फ. तो ये इट इज एग्जिस्टिंग, इट इज ऑल एग्जिस्टिंग इन ईच एंड एवरी ह्यूमन बीइंग. ये सभी ह्यूमन बीइंग में प्रेजेंट है ये dream self. Now when a man is sleeping, this dream self moves out of the person. When a man is sleeping, so this dream self moves out of the person temporarily. ये कहता है कि dream self moves out of the person temporarily, and when a man dies, then this dream self moves out of the person permanently. ये निकल जाता है. It is एवर प्रेजेंट, ये प्रेजेंट है हमेशा, ये कभी इट नेवर डाइज. दिस ड्रीम सेल्फ, दिस शैडो सेल्फ मे डाई बट दिस ड्रीम सेल्फ नेवर डाइज. ओके, तो जब भी मैन ड्रीम करता है तो उसका जो ड्रीम सेल्फ है वो निकल जाता है और वो किसी और की ड्रीम में चला जाता है, और किसी और का ड्रीम सेल्फ आपकी ड्रीम में आ जाता है. समझ रहे हो? तो इसका मतलब ये है कि जो ड्रीम सेल्फ है, तो इन दिस वे स्पेंसर सेज दैट दिस ड्रीम सेल्फ इज एक्चुअली दी ghost, considered to be the ghost of the ancestors. So the ghost of the ancestors, so when a man is dreaming, so he says that this ghost, the ghost of the ancestors comes in the dreams of the man. So that means that there is a living entity, or you can say any entity who is coming in the dreams of the person. So in this way he says that this ghost, the fear towards this, you can say not fear, but to explain the existence of dreams and the death. So you can say, Herbert Spencer says, to explain the reason behind dreams, death, life. Okay, so this is life. To explain the reason behind dreams, death and life. Okay, तो इसने बताया कि ड्रीम्स में घोस्ट आता है, वो घोस्ट होता है ड्रीम सेल्फ. तो टू एक्सप्लेन द रीजन बिहाइंड ड्रीम्स, डेथ एंड लाइफ, मैन हैज इवॉल्व्ड, हैड सेड दैट दिस इज द घोस्ट ऑफ द ancestors who is actually coming in the dreams of the person, and this ghost then becomes, so he rever or he prays to that ghost, and this ghost then becomes the god, the point of reverence for the human being. So you can say, and this leads to the conception of a supernatural being in the form of ghost. So this idea of ghost then becomes the idea of God, and the ghost of ancestors becomes the divine being. So in this way you can say that ancestor worship is the root of all religion. So that is why he started worshipping the ancestor, because it is the ghost of the ancestor, or you can say the self, dream self, which is the self of that person, or you can say the dream self of the ghost which has moved out of the body of the ancestors permanently when he dies. So it is the dream self of those ancestors who have visited there in their dreams, and that is why he used to worship, consider that ghost as the god, and that is why he used to worship the ghost of the ancestors. That is why ancestor worship becomes the root of all religions as per Herbert Spencer. Okay, have you understood the theory of Herbert Spencer? So definitely you need to write these keywords. Ancestor worship you need to write. If Spencer theory come, you need to write the shadow self. Shadow self means the self of the person which moves in the day. तो जब आप धूप में चलते हैं तो आपका एक शेडो चलता है ना साथ में, तो वो शेडो की बात कर रहे हैं, शेडो सेल्फ इन दी डे. सो इट शेडो सेल्फ मूव्स इन द डे एंड ड्रीम सेल्फ मूव्स इन दी नाइट. सो इससे डुअलिटी पता चली कि आपकी एक डुअलिटी है. देयर इज अ डुअलिटी, दैट देयर इज अ बॉडी एंड देयर इज अ सेल्फ आल्सो. सो सेल्फ मतलब ड्रीम सेल्फ और शेडो सेल्फ. So these two different selves are there, which are considered that there is a body of the person and there is a self of the person, which is considered to be the soul or the ghost. So these selves are considered to be the ghost. Okay, so you need to write the shadow self, dream self, and duality, and to explain the reason behind dreams, death, and life, the religion has been evolved. Okay, so in this way, Spencer's theory, you can explain the Spencer's theory of religion. Now you should understand the animism, or the theory of Tyler. Animism which is the theory of Edward Tyler. So animism means belief in spirit और सोल, यू कैन से सोल. सो इसमें एनिमिज्म में होता है एनिमा. एनिमा मीन्स सोल. सो he basically says the same thing which Spencer says, but there is a difference between the Spencer's theory and animism theory of Tyler. Now Edward Tyler says that Spencer says that it is the ghost of the ancestors who has come in the dreams of the person, and that is why he dreamed of this. This ghost becomes the root of religion, or the ancestor worship becomes the root of all religions, and the worship, he starts worshipping the ghost of the ancestors. Now he says that it is not the ghost of the ancestors which is the root of religion, but is the belief in the spirit and soul. So he says that it is actually the soul of the person who moves out when the person starts dreaming. Okay, so it is the soul. So he says that every person possesses this soul. So when a person dies, the soul moves out permanently. So he says that there is a spirit or soul. So, and this spirit and soul is not only present in animate things in each and every person, but it also present in inanimate things. Rocks, rivers, everywhere. So he says that both animate as well as inanimate things possess this soul. And plus also he says that this soul is the personal of each and every person. So every person possesses its personal soul. So that soul is not impersonal, but that soul is the personal soul of the person. So you can say the personal soul of every personal soul is present in every animate as well as inanimate things as per Edward Tyler. So it is this soul or spirit which invites the awe and reverence from the persons, and thus this soul and spirit worship towards the soul and spirit becomes the root of worship. So he says that this so in this way the so he says that one line I will definitely tell you. Okay, so he says that this soul becomes the root of worship of the man as per animism. Now, as per Edward Tyler, he says that these these type of questions. So why soul? Why he says that it is the soul who is the root of worship of the man? So he says that death from life. So why death and life is different? And what is the cause of dreams of a man? So to answer these intellectual dreams of man. So that is why religion has evolved. So he wants to answer these two questions, that how life is different from death, and what is the cause of dreams of a person. So he says that to answer these questions, to meet the needs of death, life, dreams, and vision, to answer these questions, to answer the death, life, reason behind the death, life, dreams, and vision, and to answer this thing, man starts to worship the soul and spirit, and in this way, and in turn starts worshipping the spiritual beings. So those who that spirit is the worship root of worship, or man starts worshipping the souls and spirits of all of the of so each and every man starts worshipping that soul and spirit. So that is the meaning of animism. Now you can say that in contemporary scenario also, when we used to think of Ganga as sacred. So sacred actually is an inanimate thing, but that is, you can say, contemporary form of animism, because as per Tyler, each and every animate and inanimate thing possesses that spirit, and that is why it becomes the reverent thing of reverence and awe, which invites reverence and awe from all people. So because it possesses the soul, so that soul is the main thing which is the you can say ki that soul is the point of reverence for the man. In this way, the religion animism actually has evolved, which is to worship the souls and spirits. Okay, so this is, in this way you can write that animism has evolved to satisfy the man's intellectual nature, to meet the needs of death, vision, dreams, and life. To make sense of, how to make sense of these things. So these things can only be make sense by if there is a spirit and soul is present, and that is why animism has been evolved, where the spirit and soul has been worshipped. So this is the animistic theory of religion. Now there is one more theory, which is the theory of R.R. Marett. That is the animatism theory or mana theory. Okay. So mana theory, or you can say animatism. So that is the theory of R.R. Marett. I think it is double R. R.R. Marett. So now we will be studying the mana theory or animatism theory, which is coined by R.R. Marett. Now what R.R. Marett says that it is the impersonal or non-anthropomorphic force which is present in the nature. Now what do you mean by impersonal and non-anthropomorphic force? So which is said to be as the mana, or the most powerful force, which is said to be have possessed the root of mana. Now what do you mean by impersonal and non-anthropomorphic force? Impersonal means that does not possess by this force is not has the personal attribute, does not possess the personal attributes of a person. Okay, so this impersonal means does not possess the does not have possess the personal attributes of each and every person. So he says that there is a force, single force, एक ही force है, impersonal and non anthropomorphic, मतलब अपनी कोई शेप नहीं है इसकी. जैसे एनिमीज में बोला था कि जो सोल्स एंड स्पिरिट्स हैं वो सब उसके अंदर प्रेजेंट होंगी, एवरी ह्यूमन बीइंग और एनिमेट एंड इनएनिमेट ऑब्जेक्ट में प्रेजेंट होंगी, और वो उस पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट के एट्रीब्यूट को पोजेस करेंगी, वो सोल्स एंड स्पिरिट्स. तो उनकी अपनी एक पर्सनल एक एट्रीब्यूट होगी, who is related with that personal that person. But that mana is a single impersonal non-anthropomorphic force who is said to drive the nature or who is the source of the energy in the nature. Now what do you mean by mana? Now he says that this mana is the most powerful force, and this mana is being distributed unequally but among all the people, among all the animate as well as inanimate objects, animate as well as inanimate objects. So in this way, in this point, he actually is in consonance with the theory of animism given by Tyler. But what is the difference? Here he says that this mana is distributed, this force mana is present. So this force has given mana, distributed mana to each and every people, but in unequal manner. So maybe, for example, P1. So for example, there are different persons, Pn. So maybe it possesses the mana. So it possesses. So every person has the mana inside it. It also presents the mana, but this mana may be greater than this mana. So it possesses the greater force as compared to the mana present in this P2. Okay, have you understood this thing? So that is why he said that because of this reason, because the mana has the strength of mana is different in different people, that is why some persons, or you can say some persons or some objects you say are revered more as compared to other persons. For example, Ganga. So Ganga there are different rivers in the country, but the most revered in the nation or the country is Ganga. The most auspicious river is Ganga. Now, if we consider the theory of R.R. Marett, so Ganga is said to be possessed mana having greater force, greater mana. So his mana, the mana of Ganga is greater than the mana present in other rivers. Okay, so in this way he says that the mana is the force who is driving the so this all powerful force is being revered and is being worshipped, because that is the force which is present inside each and every person. Now here one more point you need to understand, that Tyler says that this is the evolution of religion. First, this animism comes, then he says that polytheism, and then finally monotheism comes. So in this way religion evolves in the society. So it is the this animism is the religion which is present in the primitive society. It is pre-modern, and finally it is present in the modern society, this monotheism. In this way religion has been evolved as per Tyler. So because you can understand also, because he says that because there are multiple spirits which is present in different persons, so multiple gods are present. So that is why animism के बाद polytheism आया होगा, multiple gods आए होंगे, और उसके बाद single god हुआ होगा finally. But टाइलर क्या मैरेट क्या कहता है, मैरेट क्या कहता है कि दिस मे बी दी इवोल्यूशन. क्योंकि ये बोल रहा है कि एक सिंगल माना ही है, उसी का ही अंश है, उसी का ही एक पार्ट है विच इज प्रेजेंट इन ईच एंड एवरी पर्सन. तो ये बोल रहा है कि एक ही फोर्स है. दैट इज वाई ही सेज दैट मोनोथिज्म पहले आएगा, क्योंकि एनिमेटिज्म के बाद मोनोथिज्म आएगा. एनिमेटिज्म में तो सिंगल एक फोर्स की बात कर रहे हैं, मोनोथिज्म में गॉड की बात कर रहे हैं. एक्चुअली एक गॉड प्रेजेंट होगा, और पॉलीथिज्म मतलब मल्टीपल गॉड्स. सो इन दिस वे ही सेज दैट दिस will be the evolution of religion in the society as per Merritt. So this is the point of difference between animism and animity. You must understand this thing. Okay. Now this after we so this is the theories of the intellectual theories which I have just explained to you. Now we will be coming towards the emotional and psychological theories, in which we will be studying the theory given by Malinowski, the theory given by the Max Muller naturism theory, and the James Fraser theory of religion. So in this way we will study the in this, and after completing these theories, the classical theories of religion will be completed, and we will be studying the some criticism of the classical theories. Okay. So next we will be studying the emotional and psychological theory. Okay. Thank you very much.